Quitting alcohol isn't easy, so here's 10 points you need to be made aware of before giving up. Now, all 10 points are important, but I've saved the best to last, so make sure you stay till the end of the video. Number 1, there's no hiding from life. So everything in this video is from my personal experience only. And when I say there's no hiding from life, when we've been drinkers for most of our life, we tend to use this as a crutch. We have a bad week in work, we have an argument with our girlfriend, we'll go out and drink just to numb the pain. When you give up alcohol, there's nowhere to hide. Now, this is a double-edged sword. For me personally, it was a good and a bad thing. When I gave up alcohol, I really had time to reflect on my life, and there was a lot of things that I saw which I wasn't very happy with. One of them was my job. I worked as an electrician, and I've been doing this for almost 8 years, and I just decided this wasn't the job for me. And maybe the reason why I was going out every single weekend getting drunk was because I wasn't actually fulfilled in my day job. And another realization I had, I looked at my relationship and I looked at my girlfriend and I thought to myself, this isn't really working. And when I'd actually met her, it was on a night out drinking alcohol. And to be honest, it was maybe a little bit of a fling which had lasted too long. Now, this may be the case for you. You may stop drinking alcohol, you may look in the mirror and you think, this is not the body that I want, I don't have the finances that I want, and there'll be nowhere to hide from it. But the great thing is, when there's nowhere to hide from it, this is when we can actually take control and we can change it. Number 2 is bad sleep. Now, I have mentioned before that when we do quit alcohol, we will get better sleep. Our energy levels will go up. But a lot of people, they drink to help them fall asleep at night. For me, when I stopped drinking alcohol and I stopped using cocaine, I found that I was having these crazy dreams. I'm not sure if you've experienced it before, but I was getting sleep paralysis. It was when I was like kind of asleep, but like dreaming that I was awake. And I could imagine somebody was like walking up the stairs and walking up the hallway towards my bedroom. And I was just like basically just stuck and I couldn't move. And it was absolutely terrifying. Now, after a couple of weeks, your sleep will get better and you won't have bad dreams, but just something to be aware of. You're not going crazy. When you do stop drinking alcohol, you will have disrupted sleep patterns. Number 3 is things will feel a little bit strange. Now, coming from my own personal experience, drinking since the age of probably about 16 years of age up until 30, going out every single weekend and drinking, and more importantly socializing drinking. When I stopped drinking and taking drugs, I found that it was very strange. Number 1, my routine had changed, so I wasn't going out on the weekend to the pub, which I'd done pretty much every single weekend. And 2, I was having to talk to people without being intoxicated. So it's going to feel a little bit different. You're going to feel like you've got this massive gap in your life that you need to fill. But trust me, guys, it does get a lot easier and you will learn new skills. As you go on, you'll learn new social skills and you will find something else to fill that gap where you would normally be going out drinking or being hungover. Number 4, there's no such thing as one drink. Put it this way, if there was such thing as going out for one drink, me and you wouldn't be here right now because quite simply we wouldn't have a problem. We'd be able to go out, have one drink and then go home, which doesn't really seem like there's much point because A, you're going out to drink to get drunk so you can feel a bit more loose and relax, and B, drinking alcohol doesn't actually taste nice anyway. Like, I would much rather go to the pub and have a glass of Coke if I'm not going to drink than go and have a pint of lager, because it doesn't really taste that good. The further you get into your journey of sobriety, the more distant the memories of the problems that you had that made you want to quit are. So always remember why you quit is because you couldn't stop at one. Just because things are good now doesn't mean you can go back to having one. I had this conversation with my friend the other day. He stopped drinking, then he went back to it, and he could control it for the first couple of weeks, but then he went back just as hard. So there's no such thing as one drink. Remember why you quit and just don't drink. Number 5 is envying moderate drinkers. Now, when I stopped drinking, I was still going out to the pub on times, and I would look at people around me and they would be drinking, having a good time, and I would be just thinking to myself, like, why am I different? Why can't I just drink and just have a good time like them? When we look at them in the pub having a laugh and a joke with their friends, it's easy to think that they don't have the repercussions that we did. Like, we look at it through rose-tinted lenses, but the truth of the matter is, you've got nothing to feel envious about. I mean, drinking is a drug, and all it does is take away from you. There's no benefits from drinking. There's never been a time when I've actually drunk and I felt better the day after. It's just never happened. So don't get fooled. I almost got caught a couple of times. There was a point when I was out in this pub. I think I was 6 months into being sober, and I was with my friend who was with all these guys that he'd met. We were in Australia at the time. I didn't have many friends. I'd just broken up with my girlfriend, and yeah, I could see everyone else having a laugh and a joke, and I just felt like there was this barrier, and I just couldn't get involved, and I just couldn't talk. And I was so tempted just to have a drink, but I didn't. I got a taxi, I got out of there, and I'm glad I did. Don't fall for it. You've got nothing to be envious for. Life is so much better without alcohol. And don't try and replace alcohol for something else. Now, I came to this realization about a couple of months ago where I went through the 75 hard challenge. In that challenge, there's no alcohol, there's no junk food, and there's no cheat meals. Now, I realized that through many years, instead of going to the pub after a bad day or an argument with someone, or when something had gone wrong, I would just go buy loads of chocolate bars. I'd buy McDonald's, I'd get a Pizza Hut, you name it, I would use that instead. Now, for you, this may look like you stopped drinking, so now you're struggling to go to bed at night because you were using drinking to help you go to sleep. So now you're going to smoke a joint. Now, replacing alcohol with a drug or junk food is not good. If you're swapping it for weed, you're going to be weed dependent. If you're swapping it for junk food, there's a good chance you're going to put weight on and you're going to start to feel rubbish. Don't replace it with something, just quit. Next up is FOMO, the fear of missing out. Now, I'm not going to lie, I still get this now. At the moment, I'm in Bali and I've come here on my own. I've decided to set up in Asia, work on my YouTube channel, work on my coaching business, and it's a little bit hard to kind of like make friends and just like break that gap. A little bit like the envy of moderate drinkers, the fear of missing out. I feel that if I can drink alcohol, then I will be able to have a better time, and this is just not the case. The reason we feel a fear of missing out is because we link alcohol with having a good time, because to be fair, when we do drink, we do have a good time for a couple of hours, but then we do know that it does go downhill, and that is 100% correct. So just need to be aware, the fear of missing out is because you have a positive association with drinking and having fun. But trust me, as we spoke about in the beginning of the video, the further along in your journey, you're going to find more things to fill that gap with. So just don't panic. You're not missing out on anything. This one is one I've found to be one of the most difficult over the last couple of years. And it's going to be a lot harder to make friends. But what I've come to realize is it's probably because I've set the barrier to entrance of friendship with me higher. Now, when we go out drinking, maybe this is because I was younger at the time, and when we're younger, we find it easier to meet people and be friends. But the truth of the reality is a lot of these people are associates. Now, there's a saying, you can only count off one hand real good friends. So I have found it harder to have people to be friends with. But then again, I think because I don't tolerate any crap anymore, and I'm not going to hang around with someone just so I can go to the pub and drink with them. This may be different in your case, but what you will find is when you do stop drinking, if a lot of your friends are drinkers at the moment, then you're probably going to find that you have a little less in common with them, and then you're probably not going to spend as much time together because your values are going to be different. This can be a little bit painful to begin with, but it's just part of the process, and it's just what's going to happen. So you may get a little bit lonely and you may find it hard to make friends, but the ones that you do make and let in your life will be better. And the final point that you've all been waiting for, number 10. Now, don't think that you can do it alone. Although I did do it myself, which is a bit contradictory, it was quite difficult, but trust me, if you've got someone who can be on the journey with you, or who can support you, or has done the same themselves, then it's a lot easier because you can relate to where you are and where they were, and it's just going to be a much better process. So I would strongly recommend that you follow YouTube channels like this, follow Instagram accounts where people talk about stopping drinking, and join the community if you can. Or alternatively, I've left a link in the description for my free training call. You can book a one-to-one with me, absolutely no charge, and there's also a free training video as well. So I hope you've liked this video. Please like, comment and subscribe, and I've also left the link to my free ebook which you can download.